Ricky Vessels, Peter Siddle and Ajmal Shahzad all starred on the last day at Trent Bridge, where Nottinghamshire produced a brilliant display to defeat Northamptonshire by an innings and 10 runs. Notts needed to push on quickly at the start of the final morning. Rain late on the previous evening had reduced their first innings lead to just 11 runs, and so if they were thinking about a win, then both Vessels, who began the day on 78, and Chris Reed needed to play their shots, something they certainly did. Vessels was outstanding. His second 6 of his innings and his first of 7 on this day took him to within 2 runs of a quite sensational century. Alas, Reed wasn't there to celebrate with him as he pulled Andrew Hall to Rob Newton to go for 31, with his side on 297 for 6 for a lead of 49. 2 balls later, Vessels turned a delivery from James Middlebrook into the gap on the leg side to reach 3 figures for the first time this season and for the 15th time in his career. He needed just 124 balls for this one, from which he'd struck 2 sixes and a dozen 4s, and there were plenty more to come. Siddle didn't stay with him for too long. He edged Middlebrook to Hall on 4 just after his side had earned their 3rd batting bonus point in the 77th over. The next 8 overs belonged to Vessels and Shahzad, who smashed 107 runs off just 51 balls. Against his former county, Vessels took 3 successive maximums off Hall in an over that cost 21, while another 19 were hit off his replacement Azarullah. The new T20 season had started 2 days earlier than planned. Maurice Chambers couldn't stop the onslaught either. One of his overs cost 16. It was magnificent batting from Vessels, who then went to his 150 at faster than a runner ball. Indeed, his 3rd 50 had occupied only 20 balls, from which he'd hit 6 sixes. No wonder he celebrated the way he did. He'd also taken his side close to maximum batting bonus points in no time at all. Shahzad gave him ideal support as these two posted a 100-run partnership in just 38 deliveries. It was the stuff of dreams, or nightmares if you were the Northamptonshire attack. Their dream would now be for this to end quickly. It did when Vessels on 158 finally mishit one off Azarullah, to be held at wide long on by Stephen Crook. Reed then declared, with his side making 409 for 8 off 85.5 overs, and that gave Nottinghamshire a first innings lead of 161. There were 76 overs left to now try to turn that performance into a victory, and things started to go their way when Middlebrook was LBW to Shahzad, who'd made 36 off 25 balls with the bat himself. Stephen Peters soon followed in the 13th over, falling in a very similar way to the first innings to leave with his side on 36 for 2 shortly after lunch. Siddle then ripped out David Sale's middle stump with a cracker to leave the visitors 3 down while still being 102 runs behind. Nottinghamshire were now filled with confidence, and Siddle then struck for a 3rd time by trapping Matt Spriegel in front for 12. That left Northamptonshire on 62 for 4, now trailing by 99. With Siddle and Shahzad taking a breather, Northamptonshire were able to stop the rot for 11 overs, in which Newton and Hall added 30 runs. But the home side still had Andre Adams to call upon, and he took a very easy return catch to remove Newton for 19. The one man Nottinghamshire now wanted to see the back of was Hall, who, over the years, has produced some long innings of note. He, though, would need some help if his side were going to get away from Trent Bridge with a draw. Ben Duckett wasn't the man for the job, though, as he gave the returning Siddle his 4th wicket of the innings and his 8th of the match. Hall did keep going for a while, knowing that runs were important to use up more time later on in the evening. He was still there as the players took tea. But crucially, he was soon out as the final session got underway, Shahzad finding the edge of his bat to send him on his way for 27, the top score of the innings. Shahzad had probably one of his best ever days for this county. A 3rd wicket in this innings and his 6th in the match followed 2 balls later, as David Murphy was delivered a peach which was not only quick but swung in late. It now only seemed a matter of time for Nottinghamshire to pull off a memorable win. Bear in mind that this game didn't even start until the afternoon of day 2, but Crook and Chambers held up the home side for the best part of an hour. The game may have just been slipping away when Reid tossed Samit Patel the ball, and with his 12th delivery, he took a catch off his own bowling to bring an end to Crook's 62-minute stay. Northamptonshire was still trailing by 12 runs, and after 2 more had been scored, Shazad switched to around the wicket to trap Chambers in front. The bowler celebrated his destructive day with a Tigger impression, as his team had pulled off a remarkable win. The margin was by an innings and 10 runs, with Northamptonshire being dismissed in their second innings for just 151 in 49.2 overs. In the end then, Nottinghamshire had won with bags of time to spare to take the maximum 24 points and to kick-start their season. For Northamptonshire, this was a 3rd successive defeat, and the 3 points they accrued leaves them adrift at the bottom of the table. They next take on Middlesex at home from Sunday.